Hey everybody, Chris here. So what's the Dogecoin momentum play going forward? I'm going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when the videos come out as well as when I do live streams. And we were live on Tuesday and we were looking at the charts and watching where we would see dips. A lot of people looking for lower prices to buy back in. A lot of eyes on Bitcoin as well. And the big question was, is Bitcoin going to drop below 100K? And we asked the Magic 8 Ball, that's right, the Magic 8 Ball said yes. The Magic 8 Ball said, yeah, it certainly is going to happen, Bitcoin below 100K. Now, if you believe the Magic 8 Ball, well, then trade accordingly, watch for those dips. Join in on the live streams as well, while we know it's a choppy summer, right? And that was the theme that we had the past couple days, is we are in the summer of chop and there could be good swing trading opportunities. So again, join in on the live streams. I'm live every Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock East Coast time. And I'm going to start some Saturday live streams as well, where we can talk about other things as well and not just solely about crypto and finances. So make sure you are subscribed, you've got your notifications on, and join in on the fun there. But for now, we have a very busy Wednesday ahead of us. So let me get into it. Let me show you the charts and the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current Dogecoin price. We're 16.8, all right, 16.84 as we are on Wednesday morning before the stock market has opened as I'm recording this. Early this morning, we did see a bit of a sell-off from Doge as it was over 17 cents, came back down to about 16.6 or so, has been recovering from there, while Bitcoin was up on Wednesday afternoon, about 105.5, came down throughout overnight to about 104.2, now back up at 104.7. So if we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, we get a better view. Before the Israel-Iran conflict, Bitcoin was up here at 110. Right? And then last week, and we had this drop. Bitcoin came all the way down to 102.8, did recover up to 106, and then we had some good news here into Monday on thinking that, yeah, this conflict wasn't going to be so bad. Came up to 108.4, and then, of course, dipped back down here into the 103. So, again, it's this is the current narrative. It happens every summer, right? We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. This is the chop that we've been talking about. We're now in June. This is the chop. Now, you can trade this, you can swing trade this, or you can just look at these dip buying opportunities. Same with Doge. Following along, Doge was up over 20 cents here. Comes all the way down to, 16.9, right? We're talking 16.99, and we started to see recovery and then dumps back down. So a low of 16.5 here that we had yesterday. And so, yeah, we could have run back up to 18, come down to 16. That's kind of the choppiness that is going on. So where does the momentum go from here? Well, right now, we're pre-market on Wednesday. What's the FOMC going to do? We already know that, right? We talked about that yesterday and the day before, the no rate cuts. But we're going to look at the dot plots, and we're going to hear Powell's words. Is he dovish? Is he hawkish? What's he going to say? I'm guessing it's a lot of uncertainty still, and the markets don't like uncertainty. The futures have been up and down this morning so far. So look for kind of a market open, a little volatility, and I'm guessing the rest of the morning the stock market's just going to be flat, waiting for the afternoon. So I'll be watching Tom Crown this afternoon. At 2 o'clock, we'll have the rate decision. At 2:30, Powell has his press conference. So Tom always has a great show. So I'll be watching that. But right now, it's like hawkish Fed outlook. Is that what we're going to be looking at? The Israel-Iran tensions weigh on crypto. Rebound hopes hinge on the second half of the year. Right? The second half of the year. It's like what Chris has been saying all along. If you've been listening to Chris Packs at all in the last 6 months, you know what I'm saying. Let's get through the summer, right? And wait for the fall. Now other people are starting to get on board with that, and I'm like, I've always been there if you guys have been watching me. That's what we got. Dan Crypto says, hey, big day today. Today we'll get another rate cut decision. None. FOMC press conference, Fed's economic projections. We'll hear Jerome Powell discuss the data. I don't think we'll get a convincing dovish or hawkish tone from Powell. On one hand, we get some economic data slowing down. We've had good inflation reads. On the other hand, we've just seen the Middle East conflict escalate. We've seen the price of oil increase, coming back down a bit today because Israel is trying to stay away from oil reserves and things like that. So, is inflation going to come back? The Fed's still uncertain, so no rate cuts. How about September, right? I mean, people are already looking to September rate cuts and whether that will happen. The July meeting, we might get a better view of the rest of 2025, but that's another month away. So today, it's a big nothing burger, but it's going to be, what do the dot plots say? And that's when all the Fed commissioners are like projecting where the future of the rates are going to go. And there's probably going to be 1 or 2 rate cuts in the second half of 2025, would be my guess, and maybe more projected for 2026. So that's all way out there. What does that mean for you today, right? And what's going on? So the herd mentality is Bitcoin is going down due to WW3, right? And that's what the Magic 8 Ball thought too. Remember when Kramer called the Black Swan event? Stocks closed in the green. Inflation was high. Macro was bad. But Bitcoin surged from 15K to 100K, right, over 2 years. Or when everyone said Trump is going to send everything way higher and it actually went lower, right? I think it's time to accept the masses will be wrong another time. Sure, Bitcoin can dip, but 3 months from now, we're going to be much higher. So that's what Chris says as well. Not financial advice, of course, but so other people starting to get on, right, the Chris Pax bandwagon of what's going on. Of course, Trader Allen, he's just like, he's still looking at his little charts and his like patterns, saying patterns repeat. But again, he's looking at last November, again, this big 300% rise in Dogecoin. But that was on the backs of the Trump election and Elon Musk and Doge and all the excitement around Dogecoin there. So you can't use that you can't look at that, especially for July into August. That's not happening. So let's get some realism into here. But, Alan's just going to do chart after chart after chart, repeating this because it gets clicks and it gets views, and he doesn't care if he's right or not. That's how it goes. Crypto Rover looking at the same thing. He's like, hey, we had an Iran-Israel conflict, late last year, and it led to this huge surge in the price of Bitcoin. Of course, that again was the Trump election. So he's like, hey, here we are again. So is this same thing? And it's just like, guys, that's not happening. Not like that. And not this summer. We're in the summer of chop. It's not going up like that. But these are the Everbulls, and they just print these things, and they get clicks and views and all of that. So let's look at Doge. What's happening with Doge's price, right? Well, there are some bears out there that are looking at downward channels now. Downward channels from the end of May into June. Of course, this is a snapshot of like the height of the spring after the Trump tariff thing, when Doge, remember, was down at 13 cents. He doesn't show that part, right? Where Doge recovered from 13 cents back up to 22 cents, right? So now it's the snapshot just looking down. So you can make these charts, right, be whatever narrative you want them to be, right? So if you want to be bearish, you can show a bearish chart, and that's just, God, that looks really bad, right? No, this is just going to bleed out to the side, and where it's going to chop up and down. It's not going to go down like that. I don't think it is. It's just going to bleed out and it's going to chop up and down. So that's what typically happens in the summer. So no worries here. I don't have any. I just see this as being, again, just just another view of the short term, and I'm swing trading now. It's like, I'm going to do some swing trading. Now my big stash of Doge and Bitcoin are still locked away. So it's a small part of my portfolio that I'm swing trading, but I'm going to do this. And the momentum I see right now, it's looking a little bearish, right? Looking a little hawkish, right? And we'll see where this dip is. And I'll buy some, and then the price will go up, and I'll sell. And we'll go. I'm going to do that this summer. That's what I'm doing. Maybe some Doge, maybe some Pepe, maybe some other. We'll see. We'll see what I get into, and still waiting for the Megal stock to drop as well. Meanwhile, we've got the Genius Act passing. It's like, woohoo, Genius Act. And the Ripple CEO says it's a turning point for crypto. It's just stable coins, right? Stable coins. And this is like, it's hard for me to get all excited about stablecoin legislation. Now, I get it. There's the U.S. government taking a step forward. It's like one step of cryptocurrency acceptance. But is it really cryptocurrency when you're talking stable coins that are linked to the U.S. dollar, which is ever inflating, and the value of that dollar continues to go down every year? So I'm like, I just can't get all excited about this. I really can't. And as we see more and more companies like Amazon and Walmart talking about making their own stable coins possibly, and blockchains and how that's going to work, it's like that pushes out that whole ethos of crypto, and particularly Dogecoin, used as a currency, decentralized finance away from the banks, and now everything's getting tied back in to the banks and the government, and they're all going to have their fingers in the pie. That's what this is about. And I'm just like, meanwhile, XRP wipes out $10 billion of market cap in a week. So there is that. But we also did have Doge move down to 9th as Tron, yes, Justin's son, who's now in bed with the president, so to speak, right? It's like, bought a bunch of Trump tokens, got to have dinner with the president, buying in on World Liberty Finance with Eric and Don Jr. But Tron, I mean, it had its little run earlier in the week. Now it seems to be dropping back. So we may see Doge reclaim 8th over Tron after Tron had this little run. So that appears to be ready to flip back. So we'll be watching that in the next live stream on Wednesday afternoon. Meanwhile, we have Tether. Tether minted another $1 billion of their stablecoin. Just another $1 billion ahead of the FOMC. That means people are using Tether, right? Because they mint more when it's being used. And so the more it gets used, the more money they make. They just mint more. I'm just like, okay. So we also have the inflation of Tether, right? With the decreasing value of the US dollar. And people say that this is bullish for crypto. And I'm just like, is it really? Is it really? I'm just like, it's hard for me to get excited about that. Meanwhile, over in Iran, we've got Novitex, which is an Iranian-based cryptocurrency exchange. It's lost $73 million in a Tron exploit, which is tied to a bunch of Israelis who seem to be poking at this. So that could be, the hackers could be Israel hackers getting into an Iranian exchange, and they're using Tron as the exploit. So again, Tron is vulnerable, and that could be part of the reason Tron may be pulling back now, is because of this. So more information to come on this and how this is all going to play out. But meanwhile, back to Doge, and it's just like, look, Doge, the LMACD, so signs of rolling over. And this is an interesting chart here that Tony the Bull has put together. He's looking at this LMACD, which is the the moving average kind of crossover here that happens after a big run. So 2017, definitely there was a big run in Doge's price, and there was a crossover that happened at the end of that bull cycle. In 2021, it was after May, you know, the big run up to all-time high, and then there was the crossover that followed. Even though Doge did go from like 16 cents back up to 35, was when that crossover was happening and then pulled back. But here, late 2024, we saw Doge go up to 48 cents, and of course has been pulling back because of the Trump tariffs and all of that. The markets don't like uncertainty, right? And so now we have that crossover happening. So when you have that crossover, does that mean that the run is dead? We're over and we're going into a bear market now. That's what this is showing. I think this is going to be a little different this year. We're going to have the choppiness of the summer, and then in the fall, I think we're still going to have a rebound. So if you trade on the momentum, though, from previous cycles, it's like bear, bear, and then this would be the start again of a bear. And there are some bears out there who believe that. Chris Pax personally doesn't believe that. And there are a lot of other people who don't believe that as well. So it'll be interesting going forward. And how are you going to trade it? Right now, I'm going to swing trade through the summer, I think, and then get ready for the fall. Make sure that I'm locked and loaded with, you know, buying on the dips. Get those buying opportunities go. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this momentum? Do you think there is a downward bearish momentum, or do you kind of think we're chopping around, DCAing and looking for prices to go up later this year? Let me know. Give the video a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.